I don't believe in God at all anymore. So no, I don't believe in reincarnation, although, I can't prove it doesn't happen. I grew up Presbyterian, but I was part of a couple other denominations too. Cope says, do you feel that you put faith in a feeling and not a fact? God's promises are not feelings. I don't know. I certainly had logical issues with the theology that I believed. So feelings weren't the only concern that I had. Granted, as humans, we are emotional beings. And so I don't think it's ever possible to separate from your emotions. But I got to a place where I just stopped believing God existed. So it wasn't like it wasn't like I walked away because I was mad at God or something. Oh, that's interesting. Alyssa says, deconstructed and feel closer to God through my own spiritual practices. So kind of a brief, I've got some questions about why did you stop believing? And a lot of it was theological, things that used to make sense to me and then kind of stopped making sense to me. There was a part of it of feeling distant from God and then just feeling like no one was listening, like I was praying to no one. So, to the earlier question, it was not purely logical. It was both kind of logical and emotional. But yeah, I had a big issue with the doctrine of hell and then with the inerrancy of the Bible were the two big ones for me. Hey, Timmy, an ex-Pentecostal minister, now atheist. Welcome. Noah asks, how do you think everything was made? I do not know where the universe either came from or originated or if it was just always there. I do think science explains planetary existence and the existence of life and the existence of the human species pretty well. So that I feel pretty good about, but the origin of the universe, I don't know the answer to that. Alyssa asks, do you ever feel embarrassed thinking about your past? I do sometimes. Yeah. There are some times where I can have compassion for myself and know that I was just doing the best I could with what I had, but I know for a fact that I made people feel uncomfortable. I know that I was really naive about cultural sensitivity and colonialism and the kind of role of a white savior going places. And, I definitely had some pretty cringy moments for sure. Yeah, Timmy says, I struggle with how self-righteous I acted. Yeah, same. Betty asked, did you stop believing because God didn't answer a prayer you asked? No. And I think maybe what's hard for me on this end is like phrasing it like that. It makes it sound like I was being a demanding child, treating God like a vending machine, and when he didn't do what I wanted, I stomped away in anger. And that really does not represent what happened. There was part of it that was related to prayer, but the only thing I was asking God for was just help me believe, help me have faith. Somehow either reveal yourself to me somehow or just help my unbelief in some way. And so for God to not answer that particular prayer, I do think that's a legitimate reason not to believe in him anymore. It wasn't that simple for me, so it's not like I, waited 24 hours and then stopped believing. The stopping believing was not even a choice. It was just something that happened to me. Robert says, I was a youth minister. My God, the things I said. Yeah, I think we've all said things we've regretted. Amber said, saw a video saying the rapture theory wasn't added to the Bible until the 1800s. What's your take? I don't know anything about whether, words were added to the Bible at that particular time point. You'd have to ask someone with more historical knowledge. But I agree that I've read that it was not accepted as part of Christian theology until just a few hundred years ago. So I've heard that same thing.